Well, welcome to the 700 Club. President Trump has a warning for the Turkish government. Don't attack the Kurds when the U.S. pulls out of Syria, or else America will retaliate with a round of economic sanctions.
Turkey has a warning of its own. They say they're not afraid of United States threats. CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell has the story.
President Trump fired a salvo on Twitter to Turkey. He warned the U.S. would devastate Turkey economically if they hit the Kurds. Turkey's foreign minister fired back.
We have said many times that we are not afraid of the threat and we won't be deterred by any threat. We have said it in the past. Therefore, you cannot achieve anything by threatening Turkey economically.
After Trump's threat, the Turkish lira fell 1.6% in value. And it's not the first time Trump has affected the Turkish economy. Last year, he imposed sanctions on Turkey after it failed to release imprisoned pastor Andrew Brunson. That helped push the Turkish lira to a record low last August. The Kurds have been allies of the U.S. in the fight against ISIS, but Turkey sees these same Kurdish fighters as terrorists and allied with a Kurdish group inside Turkey called the PKK that's been fighting Turkey for decades. Late Monday, Trump spoke with Turkish President Erdogan about cooperating with Turkey during the pullout of U.S. troops. Last week, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo told CBN News the U.S. will try to meet the needs of the Turks and the Kurds.
Well, our message is straightforward. The work that the Kurdish forces did with us alongside in Syria has been important. It took down a caliphate, and we'll work with the Turks to make sure that there's security for them as well, and that the Kurdish people in Syria are indeed protected.
Trump also warned the Kurds not to provoke Turkey and raised the idea of a 20-mile security zone along the Turkish-Syrian border. If Turkey monitored that zone, many Kurds and Christians in the region say that would put them in danger, which raises another dilemma. The Kurds may rather align with Russia and Syria, and therefore Iran, if the U.S. doesn't protect them. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Maybe time to go back to something that the League of Nations, it came out of President Wilson at the end of World War I. It's a doctrine called the right of self-determination. And peoples have a right to self-determination. That is a recognized principle within international law. So here you have the Kurds, 35 million strong. They have an autonomous region dedicated to them in Iraq. But it wouldn't it be wonderful to say, okay, let's create a Kurdish homeland that would be a place of safety and security for the Kurdish people. They have very, very good reasons to be afraid of the Turks. You go back in history, all you have to do is go back 100 years, and you have the massacre, the genocide of the Armenian people within Turkey. And so the Kurdish people are at risk. The ethnic Turks they're in danger. So what do you do about that situation? Well, you don't pull out, and that's one of the things that is worrying everyone in the Middle East. If the U.S. fulfills this and pulls out of Syria, there will be a power vacuum. Who fills it? When Obama pulled out of northern Iraq, ISIS filled that power vacuum. And so if we pull out of northern Iraq and out of Syria, pull our troops out, who's going to fill that? Well, the Turks have a dream, and that dream is the recreation of the Ottoman Empire. Syria used to be part of the Ottoman Empire, and so to say we're going to trust them as our ally and they're going to have some 20-mile security zone, well, their aim is to take over Syria. So what in the world are we doing making alliances with them? We need to be very cautious here. I hope the administration doesn't pull out. We need to make sure that there is safety and security there, and for our allies, the Kurds. Well, here at home, the government shutdown is being felt in airports across the nation. Ephraim Graham has more from the CBN Newsroom.
Gordon, security lines are getting longer in airports from Washington to Atlanta to Houston.
You know, it's chaos out here. This line, I've been here about 15 minutes, and it probably moved about 2 feet.
Transportation Security Administration officials say twice as many workers are calling out sick than usual. Terminals and security checkpoints are closed due to the shortage. Airport officials in Atlanta are telling flyers to arrive 3 hours ahead of flight time. And the shutdown is now affecting a branch of the U.S. military. Today, 53,000 members of the U.S. Coast Guard are going without pay. Meanwhile, in Washington, both sides are entrenched, and there are no signs of a deal coming anytime soon. Today is the 10th anniversary of the Miracle on the Hudson. January 15, 2009, a U.S. Airways flight lost power in both engines from a bird strike shortly after takeoff from New York's LaGuardia Airport. Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger guided the jet to a successful crash landing on the Hudson River. All 155 people on board survived. Passengers waited on the wings as New York City ferries and rescue teams came to pick them up. Survivor Beth McHugh says the event gave her a new perspective on life.
Sense of hope that good things can happen. Good things do happen. Miracles do happen.
From the moment of the bird strike to the landing on the river, Sully and the crew had just a little more than 3.5 minutes to make their decisions.